The groups that tormented Oda Nobunaga the most were, in fact, the mercenary forces known as the Saika Shu and Negoro Shu. Why were they hailed as the strongest, and how could they resist Nobunaga to such an extent? Their firearm technology and organizational power were so formidable that even Nobunaga himself described them as hellish. In the Ishiyama Kasen, they held Nobunaga at bay for over 10 years, achieving overwhelming military success. Yet, beneath this, an even more astonishing truth lay hidden. What was the unknown secret to the strength of these mercenaries who risked their lives for gold and glory, using faith as their shield? In this video, we will explain 3 key aspects: the origins of this powerful firearm mercenary group, their fierce struggles against Oda Nobunaga, and their tragic ultimate fate. Now, let's delve into the truth of these mercenaries who shook the Sengoku period. In the main feature, we will also detail the legendary figure of Saika Shu Kishu in Wakayama Prefecture during the Sengoku period. This land had long fostered a spirit of independence, where temple shrine powers and influential local lords coexisted. The Saika Shu were a collective of local samurai based in Saikasho, around Wakayama Castle, and were particularly skilled in handling firearms. The Negoro Shu, on the other hand, were a militant group organized by the warrior monks of Negoro-ji Temple, the head temple of the Shinji Shingen sect. They were among the first to acquire firearms through merchants in Sakai, and they uniquely developed their own manufacturing and improvement techniques. They had completely mastered the cutting-edge weaponry of their time. For this reason, they were hired as mercenaries by various daimyo, exerting overwhelming power on the battlefield in exchange for high remuneration. Their strength lay in being a professional group driven by money. Particularly known as a leader of the Saika Shu was Saika Magoichi. His name was also called Saika no Magoichi, and he was feared as a legendary master of firearms. Magoichi was not merely a warrior, but also an excellent tactician. Under his command, the Saika Shu devised combat strategies to maximize their collective firepower. Their tactics ranged from synchronized volleys from dense formations, an advanced form of the 3-stage firing method, to guerrilla warfare. They were practicing these methods even before Nobunaga introduced his own 3-stage firing. Despite being distinct groups, the Saika Shu and Negoro Shu sometimes collaborated due to common interests and, at times, religious solidarity between the Ikko Shu and Shingen sects. As Nobunaga aimed for the unification of Japan, controlling this region of Kishu was essential. So, why did Nobunaga fear them so much, calling them hellish? The greatest conflict between Oda Nobunaga and the Saika Shu and Negoro Shu was the Ishiyama Kasen. The Saika Shu, allied with Kenyo of Hongan-ji, met Nobunaga's forces. Nobunaga, proclaiming Tenkafubu, rule the world by force, had subjugated all his enemies with brute strength. However, his aggressive tactics proved ineffective against the Saika Shu's firearm corps. The Saika Shu, based at the formidable Ishiyama Hongan-ji of the Hongan-ji Temple, even mobilized a naval force to cut off Oda's supply lines. Nobunaga was tormented from the sea as well. One must not forget the tragedy of the Nagashima Ikko-iki. Nobunaga launched a fierce attack on the Ikko Shu followers, burning tens of thousands of people. Yet, the Saika Shu inflicted heavy losses on the Oda army there too, continuing their resistance to the very end, even killing Nobunaga's brother, Oda Nobuki. Saika Magoichi was even said to have plotted Nobunaga's assassination, his very existence a threat to Nobunaga. He navigated the Sengoku period, siding with the most advantageous forces at any given time. He consistently maintained his pride as a professional hired for money. The Ishiyama Kasen ultimately concluded with Hongan-ji agreeing to peace, resulting in a victory for Nobunaga's forces, but it would likely have ended much sooner without the Saika Shu's resistance. After Nobunaga's death, Toyotomi Hideyoshi, aiming for national unification, could not ignore the mercenary groups of Kishu. Their strength posed a significant threat to Hideyoshi as well. Hideyoshi approached the Kishu campaign with a different strategy than Nobunaga. His aim was not just military force, but also to dismantle them from within through diplomacy and stratagem. The first target was the Negoro Shu. In Tensho 13, 1585, Hideyoshi invaded Kishu with an army exceeding 100,000, burning Negoro-ji temple to the ground. Many warrior monks were slain, and the Negoro Shu suffered a devastating blow. Their accumulated history and culture vanished in the flames. Next, Hideyoshi set his sights on the Saika Shu. However, the Saika Shu were even harder to unite than the Negoro Shu and suffered from internal divisions. Hideyoshi exploited this weakness, fanning the flames of internal conflict within the Saika Shu. He skillfully divided them by leveraging differences in interests and faith. Saika Magoichi temporarily submitted to Hideyoshi, but maintained his opportunism and never fully pledged allegiance. There is a theory that Saika Magoichi, the heart of the Saika Shu's resistance, was ultimately captured and executed by Hideyoshi. It was the end of the strongest mercenary. Through Hideyoshi's thorough Kishu campaign and stratagems, the Saika Shu and Negoro Shu gradually lost their former power as formidable military organizations. The independent spirit that sustained them, and the geographical conditions that prevented external intervention, also proved ineffective against Hideyoshi, who was pushing for centralization. The mercenary groups that tormented Nobunaga the most lost their collective purpose and scattered before Hideyoshi's clever strategies and overwhelming numbers. But did they completely vanish from history? Survivors of the Saika Shu and Negoro Shu dispersed across various regions in search of employment. Many of them sought new sparks for conflict. Tokugawa Ieyasu, in particular, recognized their exceptional firearm skills and enlisted many Saika Shu and Negoro Shu members as his retainers. They contributed to Ieyasu's unification of Japan, playing crucial roles as firearm units for the Tokugawa forces, especially in the sieges of Osaka. Records show that even those who inherited the name of Saika Magoichi served the Tokugawa family. Their skills and experience were passed down to a new era. However, with the establishment of the Edo shogunate and the end of the warring period, their significance as mercenaries diminished. They served the shogunate as firearm units, became ronin, or assimilated into the general populace. The Saika Shu and Negoro Shu as collective entities were products of the unique environment of the Sengoku period. In times of peace, professional mercenaries like them were no longer needed. These groups, who tormented Nobunaga the most, quietly faded from the stage of history with the end of the turbulent era. So, what lessons should we draw from their fate? The background to the birth of these formidable firearm mercenary groups was Kishu's independent spirit and their rapid adaptability to the latest weapon, the firearm. In their fierce struggle against Nobunaga, they displayed astonishing resistance in the Ishiyama Kasen, holding back Nobunaga's forces for 10 years and making their strength known throughout the land. However, before Hideyoshi's clever stratagems and overwhelming numbers, they perished as a collective, meeting a tragic end. While their individual skills and spirit were passed down to the Tokugawa shogunate, their era as mercenary organizations had come to an end. The story of the Saika Shu and Negoro Shu is not merely the history of mercenary groups. It may well be a record of the souls of people who sought freedom and faith, surviving a turbulent age.
History still hides untold stories. Subscribe for more forgotten history.